5 nighttime habits that could raise your stroke risk after 60, and 1 simple change to protect your brain. Introduction. As a neurologist, I've sat across from countless patients whose lives changed overnight, not because of smoking, poor diets, or inactivity, but due to quiet, seemingly harmless habits they never questioned. At 60 or beyond, your brain becomes more vulnerable to stroke, a silent thief that can strike while you sleep, leaving you unable to speak, move, or recognize loved ones. Stroke is the 5th leading cause of death in the U.S., with over 795,000 cases annually, and adults over 60 face a 20% higher risk due to age-related changes in circulation and blood vessels. CDC, 2023. The scariest part? Many strokes are preventable, rooted not in rare conditions but in everyday choices. Habits you might be repeating tonight. Imagine waking up confused, your words slurred, one arm limp, or your memory foggy. I've seen it happen to patients like Harold, Evelyn, George, June, and Donald, ordinary people careful with their health, blindsided by strokes triggered by small nighttime mistakes. These aren't dramatic errors. They're subtle oversights. Skipping a glass of water, dozing in a recliner, mistiming medications, sleeping in a cold room, or watching stressful TV before bed. Each habit, alone, seems trivial, but together, they create a perfect storm for blood clots, disrupted circulation, or spiking blood pressure during the vulnerable hours of sleep. This article isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. I'll walk you through 5 common nighttime habits that could silently raise your stroke risk, backed by research from journals like Stroke and The Lancet Neurology. More importantly, I'll share 1 powerful change you can make tonight. A simple dietary shift that nourishes your brain, stabilizes blood flow, and reduces clot risk. Drawing on clinical experience, randomized controlled trials, and stories from patients, we'll translate science into practical steps. Whether you're 60, 75, or older, this guide is for you or someone you love. Before we begin, share in the comments. How old are you, and where are you reading from? What's 1 health habit you're curious about? Let's build a community of awareness and action to protect our brains. Section 1. Going to bed dehydrated. One of the most overlooked stroke risks is something as simple as going to bed dehydrated. You might skip that glass of water to avoid nighttime bathroom trips, thinking you're protecting your sleep. But for adults over 60, this habit can thicken your blood, slow circulation, and set the stage for a stroke. Let me tell you about Harold Decker, a 72-year-old retired postal worker from Michigan. Harold was diligent, daily walks, low-sodium diet, medications on time. But he avoided fluids after 6 p.m. to minimize nighttime disruptions. One morning, his wife found him confused, unable to lift his left arm, his speech jumbled. Tests revealed a stroke caused by a clot, with labs showing thickened blood due to dehydration. As we age, our thirst mechanism weakens. A 2019 study in the Journal of Gerontology found that adults over 65 are 30% less likely to sense dehydration, meaning you may already be mildly dehydrated before feeling thirsty. Overnight, you lose fluids through breathing and sweat, up to 500 milliliters in 8 hours. Sleep Medicine, 2020. In younger adults, the body compensates, but for older adults, this loss thickens blood, increasing viscosity by up to 10%. Circulation, 2018. Thick blood flows slower, raising the risk of clots that can lodge in brain arteries, causing an ischemic stroke. 80% of all strokes per stroke, 2021. Dehydration also spikes blood pressure as the body struggles to maintain circulation, adding strain to aging arteries. Harold's stroke left him with a limp and reliance on his wife for daily tasks. "If I'd known water could make a difference," he said, tears in his eyes, "I'd have drunk it." The fix is simple. 4 to 6 ounces of water 30 minutes before bed. Enough to hydrate without overloading your bladder. A 2022 American Heart Journal study showed that adequate hydration reduces stroke risk by 15% in older adults. If you're worried about nighttime trips, sip slowly and avoid caffeine after 3 p.m., as it's a diuretic. Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, 2020. Practical takeaway: drink 4 to 6 ounces of water 30 minutes before bed. Keep a small glass by your nightstand. Reflect: how can you make hydration a nightly ritual without disrupting sleep? Section 2. Falling asleep in a recliner or couch. Falling asleep in a recliner or couch feels cozy. Curling up with a blanket, TV humming, or book in hand. But for older adults, this habit can reduce blood flow to the brain, increasing stroke risk. Meet Evelyn Marks, a 75-year-old retired music teacher from Indiana. After her husband's passing, she found comfort dozing in her recliner while watching the news. One morning, she woke with a drooping mouth and limp arm. A stroke. The cause? Hours spent with her neck tilted forward, compressing carotid arteries already narrowed by age-related stenosis. Carotid artery stenosis, common in 10% of adults over 70, The Lancet Neurology, 2019, narrows blood vessels supplying the brain. Sleeping in a recliner exacerbates this by kinking the neck, slowing blood flow by up to 20%, Journal of Vascular Surgery, 2021. Stagnant blood forms clots, which can dislodge during the early morning blood pressure surge, triggering a stroke. Fragmented sleep in a chair also raises inflammation and cortisol, further increasing clot risk. Sleep, 2020. Evelyn's stroke stole her ability to play piano, a lifelong passion. "I thought my recliner was harmless," she said, her voice soft with regret. The solution? Sleep in bed with a supportive pillow to keep your neck aligned. A 2023 stroke study found that proper sleep posture reduces cerebral blood flow disruptions by 12%. If you nap in a recliner, set a timer for 20 minutes and move to bed for the night. Practical takeaway: sleep in bed with a pillow supporting your neck. If you nap in a chair, limit it to 20 minutes. Ask: how can you make your bedroom a more inviting sleep space? Section 3. Taking blood pressure medication late at night. Mistiming blood pressure medication, especially taking full doses at bedtime, can cause nocturnal hypotension, starving the brain of oxygen. George Lambert, a 78-year-old retired firefighter, took his beta blocker at 10 p.m. nightly. One morning, he woke disoriented, slurring words. A stroke caused by low blood pressure overnight. A 2021 hypertension study found that late-night dosing increases hypotension risk by 18% in adults over 65. Consult your doctor about morning or split doses to align with your circadian rhythm. Practical takeaway: review medication timing with your doctor. Consider morning doses if safe. Reflect: when do you take your medications, and could the timing be optimized? Section 4. Sleeping in a cold room. Sleeping in a room below 65 degrees Fahrenheit without proper bedding can cause vasoconstriction, raising blood pressure and clot risk. June Callahan, an 80-year-old grandmother, kept her thermostat at 60 degrees Fahrenheit to save energy. A stroke left her with right-side weakness. A 2020 Journal of the American College of Cardiology study showed that cold-induced vasoconstriction increases stroke risk by 10% in older adults. Maintain 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit with breathable bedding like cotton or wool. Practical takeaway: keep your bedroom at 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit with adequate blankets. Wear socks if needed. Ask: is your sleep environment supporting your brain's health? Section 5. Watching stressful TV before bed. Watching stressful news or dramas before bed elevates cortisol, thickens blood, and disrupts sleep, increasing stroke risk. Donald Reed, a 67-year-old retired police officer, Loved crime shows but suffered a mild stroke after years of this habit. A 2022 neurology study found that pre-sleep stress raises stroke risk by 15% via elevated cortisol and inflammation. Choose calming activities like reading or meditation instead. Practical takeaway: swap stressful TV for calming rituals like light reading or music. Reflect. What can you do before bed to calm your mind? Section 6. The power of a brain-protective diet. Avoiding risky habits is crucial, but proactively nourishing your brain is equally powerful. Meet Arlene Moore, a 74-year-old retired secretary who suffered a mild stroke despite taking multiple supplements. Her diet skipped breakfasts, protein bars, frozen dinners, lacked whole foods. A 2021 stroke study showed that diets rich in whole foods reduce stroke risk by 20% by stabilizing blood pressure and reducing inflammation. We switched Arlene to balanced meals. Breakfast of eggs, whole grain toast, avocado and blueberries. Lunch with greens, almonds and chicken, and light dinners like salmon and broccoli. Within a month, her energy, blood pressure, and sleep improved. Key nutrients include omega-3s, salmon, walnuts, which reduce clot formation, circulation, 2020. Antioxidants, berries, greens, which lower inflammation, antioxidants, 2021. And fiber, oats, legumes, which stabilizes blood sugar, nutrients, 2022. Hydration and light evening walks amplify benefits. Avoid supplements unless prescribed, as they can disrupt medication absorption. Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, 2020. Practical takeaway: eat a whole food dinner, e.g., salmon, sweet potato, broccoli, and stay hydrated. Walk 10 minutes nightly. Ask, how can you make meals your brain's best medicine? Conclusion: stroke is a silent threat, striking without warning, often during sleep. But the habits that raise your risk, dehydration, recliner sleeping, mistimed medications, cold rooms, and stressful TV, are within your control. Harold, Evelyn, George, June, and Donald learned this the hard way, but their stories can inspire change. Research confirms that small shifts, like drinking 4 to 6 ounces of water before bed, sleeping in a supportive bed, adjusting medication timing, keeping your room at 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and choosing calming pre-sleep activities, reduce stroke risk by up to 25%. Stroke, 2023. Adding nutrient-rich meals, eggs, greens, salmon, berries, strengthens your brain's resilience. Tonight, start with one change. Sip a small glass of water or swap TV for a book. Share in the comments. What's one habit you'll adjust to protect your brain? Your choices are your strongest medicine. Let's build a community of awareness and action, ensuring we wake up to vibrant, independent lives.